Hey everyone, it's Ryan with the Hamiltonian Society, and we're going to look back at the 2016 Road to the Hambletonian, the actual Hamiltonian itself, and we'll sprinkle in a little Breeders' Crown action to cap off the year because 2016 was a phenomenal year for 3-year-old colt trotters. It produced 3 separate millionaires. What a great rivalry between Southwind Frank, Marion Marauder, and bar hopping. So we're going to look back at just the facts, just the strategies, just the stats. We're going to break down why horses won, why horses lost, what could have been different, how did it end up here.
Southwind Frank is coming. Marion Marauder, Southwind Frank. Marion Marauder and Southwind Frank, they hit the line together. Maybe Marion Marauder.
Southwind Frank, Marion Marauder, noses apart in the Hamiltonian. Bar hopping ended up winning the Breeders' Crown later that year, but we're going to go back all the way a year earlier. Hambletonian Day. The 2015 Peter Houghton Memorial. Here you see Southwind Frank. He's on the lead in his typical spot. Now, Southwind Frank leading into the Peter Houghton Memorial for 2-year-old colt trotters. He was the superstar. As you can see, he's 3 to 5. Very rarely, I would assume that a 2-year-old trotting colt in the Peter Houghton Memorial is 3 to 5. Usually this field is full of a bunch of rookie trotters who make mistakes, and Southwind Frank, right from the get-go, was absolutely perfect. He makes his move to the front very, very easily. Very soft fractions, although for a 2-year-old trotting colt, 125-1, pretty stellar. And as you can see, I mean, he looks perfect. He drives perfect. He's pulling away from the field, toying with the field, actually. So this was the start of the hype, even though the Peter Houghton Memorial is not actually a ground for Hamiltonian winners. But Southwind Frank was so dominant so early that he automatically became a Hamiltonian favorite leading into the next year. He ended up carrying all the way through to the Breeders' Crown, which is also very rare too, to win the Peter Houghton and the Breeders' Crown in the same year. So here we see in the Breeders' Crown elimination up in Woodbine, Southwind Frank, he has this post 7 right here. And this is normally what Yannick does. He normally just kind of floats away, lets everybody settle in, and then whenever anybody is settled in, he attacks. It's the elimination. He doesn't want to get caught behind a lot of people, so he powers his way to the front, but he's not in any urge at all. And everybody knows it. Again, he's 1 to 5 here. That is very rare for a 2-year-old colt trotter, so he's just been dominant all season long. Everybody knows that he's the best horse. They're not going to fight him. 28-2, he ends up strolling through the middle half in 59-4 or 58-4. And here you can see in the elimination just coasting away. Nobody is even within 3 lengths of him. Southwind Frank, the absolute superstar as a 2-year-old colt trotter. Perfect all season and just strolls home a nice 28-1 finish. We go into the final. It's a little rainy, but who cares? Southwind Frank 1 to 9. And again, Yannick is really not going to play too many games here. He's going to just float away, let everybody settle, and once he knows that he could make the front, that's when he just kind of, attack isn't even the word. He just is slowly rolling up. I'm sure he wanted to stay a little bit wide here because of the mud and the splashback, especially in the straightaway. But he just strolls to the front. The first 13 seconds, that's no big deal for a straightaway. Yannick just moves to the front, no big deal. Again, 1 to 9. Nobody is in this horse's league. And he gets another nice, easy middle half, 59-1, a 30-2 backstretch quarter, and Southwind Frank just pulls away, and never even a doubt. Never a doubt. And that's how he capped off his freshman season, leading an entire winter of what is Southwind Frank going to do, and is he going to become one of, I think, only 2 Peter Houghton Memorial winners to come back and win the Hamiltonian. Now, the only other competition that Southwind Frank even remotely had was right here. Number 3, Marion Marauder. As you can see, he's first over. Scotty Z, even though he's 3-4 lengths back, isn't even really attacking. He's strolling up. Now again, Yannick, very easy soft half. But Marion Marauder just coasting up. Marion Marauder finished second to Southwind Frank. Now we move into 2016, the winter off. Southwind Frank makes his debut in a couple of qualifiers, nice and solid. But here he is, New Jersey Sire Stakes for 3-year-old colt and geldings. And as you can see, he just strolls up, gets the lead in the backstretch, just like he usually does. Yannick doesn't really attack when he makes his move with Southwind Frank. Gets a nice easy half. Strolls on. 3/4 of 125. Now as a 3-year-old, you got to step up. And here he is. 57, 125, and Southwind Frank just blows the doors off of him in the first start. Last quarter in 27-1. What a beautiful debut for Southwind Frank. Here we go in the New Jersey Sire Stakes final. Now bar hopping is in this race as well. He's the number 5 horse. So bar hopping is another horse we're going to have to keep in mind. Southwind Frank on the outside. Again, Yannick floats up, nice and easy. He's not in any hurry whatsoever. Bar hopping, a very talented but probably either immature colt, whether it's in his head or physically. He was handled with kid gloves his entire early career. And as you can see, Campbell gets away 7th here. Yannick moves up with Southwind Frank. Again, a nice controlled, no panic on Yannick's face. Southwind Frank strolls up, nice and easy. Gets the lead. Bar hopping is in the back here. Campbell is just starting to get him underway. They get a nice middle half. 3/4, 125, same thing. Here's bar hopping on the outside closing after all. Remember, he was 7th. And here he makes a nice close at the end. Yes, he does end up finishing 4th, but it's a nice closing run. 3/4, 125. Last quarter, 27-3. A little disappointing for Southwind Frank as he only came his last quarter in 27-3. You'd like to see a 26-4 kicker there. We move up to Canada, where Marion Marauder is from, and his connections are from. And this is an eliminations of the good time. He's got the rail here. This is his debut start as well in stakes competition. And he just gets an awful start. I don't know what happened here, but when you have the rail, you cannot get away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. 8th from the rail. That is not going to cut it. 7th now with a horse breaking. But Marion Marauder, we know he's a closer. Here he is on the outside. All the way back, just like bar hopping. He was 7th at the top of the stretch. And here he is closing like a freight train. We know that is his best move. It's an elimination. He makes the final, moving on. Good solid closing for Marion Marauder. That's going to be his strength. Mile and 54, not going to really cut it. But here we go into the final. He luckily drew the 2-hole. It's very important now. Same exact position. Got the inside. What does Scotty Zeron do? He makes sure that Marion Marauder can leave. He doesn't have to make the front. All he has to do is just get away solid. And here he goes right around the 1 horse. He's going to get away 4th or 5th. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So his one flaw early on. Southwind Frank has none. Marion Marauder fixes his early flaw. Here he is in 5th. He's going to move to the outside. He's going to follow some cover. Bar hopping is actually in this race as well. He has the 6-hole. He decided, Tim Tetrick, to come up the inside. Marion Marauder's just to his outside. Unfortunately, bar hopping is going to get boxed in here with nowhere to go. Here comes Marion Marauder on the far outside, swooping by with his best move, passing horses late in the stretch. Here's bar hopping, again also with his best move, closing late. These 2 horses, their best move is off the pace. Southwind Frank on the lead. What a showdown. 52-4, last quarter 27-4. Absolutely perfect performance. Marion Marauder ended up, here he is. He's got post 8, took his trip down and made his home in New Jersey to prep for the Hambletonian. And here is an open 3-year-old colt division against all his other 3-year-old colt competition. He was 9th at the top of the stretch. And what is his best move? Closing. Finding his way through traffic, absolutely exploding at the end, making his competition look silly. Here he stamps that he is the best colt in this division. 52-2. That was the last quarter in just over 26 seconds. Remember, he was 9th. Now we're going to move back to Pocono. Here we have the Earl Beal Elim featuring Southwind Frank and bar hopping. Tim Tetrick jumps on. He doesn't want to get boxed in like he was up in Canada. He leaves. He gets in the 3-hole. Southwind Frank with Yannick. Again, another slow move, methodical to the front. Although 26-3, 55-4, that was his fastest first quarter, half, and 3/4. Bar hopping, attacks on the outside, a position he's never been in. He's never been this close. He's never been able to get ahead on Southwind Frank. Here they go, match up. We know bar hopping's best move is closing, and bar hopping pulls the upset on Southwind Frank in the elimination because Southwind Frank has never faced competition. I don't think up until that point a horse even got to his wheel. 52-1, a very timid last quarter of 27-4. Not something you want to see from Southwind Frank, as his wins are in 52-1, 52-3. Here we go into the final. Now what a shame here. Bar hopping puts an amazing performance, wins the elim, and draws the 9-hole. Just a no-shot chance for bar hopping here. Just absolutely gutted that he wasn't rewarded with a decent post. Southwind Frank draws in the middle. He ends up, again, his same move. He's fourth on the outside. Waits for everybody to just get settled in, get out of his way. He knows that bar hopping has just no shot. It's unfortunate. Southwind Frank makes his move to the front. Very slow, 27-3/4. Southwind Frank makes his way to the front. Bar hopping, as you could see, he's way back. He's not going to abuse his horse. I know it's for $500,000, but the 9-hole, everybody's trying to leave. Here comes Dason on the outside, actually challenging Southwind Frank, which was rare. Nobody ever took a shot at Southwind Frank up until this point, up until going to Pocono. Nobody had even challenged Southwind Frank. He gets a nice 56-2 soft half, which is better, although it's a few ticks. That matters from the week before. Bar hopping, again, just no shot. He's sixth. He's third over. He's got to go around bad horses. Dason is already starting to fade. He took a shot. It was a bad shot. Southwind Frank just strolls through the third quarter, even though Pocono's third quarter is the fastest because it's essentially a straightaway. 124-4. A nice, easy 28-2 backstretch. Look at bar hopping. Just nowhere to go. Just clustered. Just walls of horses in front of him. What's he going to do? Tim Tetrick isn't even moving the whip. He knows we're going to live to fight another day. Southwind Frank does his job when he's on his own, strolls away, and bar hopping, you'll see just at the very end, just closes. Beautiful stretch run to get up for third. Again, 52-4 though. That is not something you want to see from Southwind Frank. 52-1, 52-3, 52-4. He's getting slower. Now we move to the Stanley Dancer at the Meadowlands. This race had Southwind Frank in it. Bar hopping and Marion Marauder were in the other division. Southwind Frank decides to race from off the trot. Yannick, very nice and easy. Swoops 3 wide and just shows that Southwind Frank is versatile. I don't really know if it was an intent to show that he was versatile, that he could come off the trot. But again, Southwind Frank, easy to drive, easy to move, does everything you want, shows his competition that he's the one to beat. Bar hopping is on the 9, Marion Marauder on the 6. Marion Marauder's worst thing, he can't leave. Well, his job in the Stanley Dancer, show everyone he can leave. To show, it was amazing. Southwind Frank showed that he can come from off the trot. Marion Marauder wants to show everybody, no, he can leave and cut a mile. Bar hopping, again, just riddled with bad posts. Post 9 has to come from off the trot. Look at him closing around all the other competition. Marion Marauder, nice easy stroll, middle half in 59-4. But last quarter in 27-4, this was a mile and an eighth. So his last eighth, very fast. Good last quarter. And just showed everybody that he can do what everybody thought he couldn't do, and that was lead. Now, in between the Stanley Dancer was 3 weeks to the Hambletonian. So Jimmy Takter brought bar hopping up to the Zweig Memorial in Vernon. Again, riddled with bad pose positions. Bar hopping is fourth now. For the first time in his career, he's moving to the front. Bar hopping is right here on the outside. He knows. He's like, oh yeah, I know what we're doing here. We're passing all the horses. Let me just pass all the horses. We're going to pass all the horses. Wait, where's the wire? I've got a whole nother half a mile to go. Half mile and 57 flat. As you can see, bar hopping looks a little timid. Again, this is something that he's never done before. He's never been on the lead. He was so good at passing horses, but now he's a little unsure of what he's supposed to do here. Now, Tim may just be riding with him, but to let all of these other horses get this close, maybe it's helping to strengthen the horse. Maybe it's gain his confidence. 3/4 of 125-1. Nice, strong mile at Vernon. Here we come down in the stretch. All of these horses, if you watch Southwind Frank's races, Marion Marauder, Stanley Dancer, these horses were not as close. And bar hopping, yes, he won. Yes, he was strong in the lead. But if you want to make a statement that you're the horse, you don't win by a half a length and you don't only go in 53-1. Now, the last race before the Hamiltonian, Southwind Frank, this is almost a wasteful race because it was raining. Southwind Frank draws post 11. Here he is coming up on the outside. His famous move. Nice and easy. You could see Yannick not worried at all. Takes his time strolling up. It's raining. It's probably better when it's raining because there isn't mud splashing in your face. Here he comes. Nice, easy half. Strolls up. Takes the lead. Takes a nice middle half. This was the race probably where they wanted to get some speed in him, and because it rained, they just couldn't. And it sucks that it was unfortunate. He got post 11 and it was raining. Cufflink Hanover actually gets a little closer. Mile and 52-1. Great mile for Southwind Frank as a prep. Now here we go into the Hambletonian Elim. Bar hopping is the only one in this division. Now he's got post 1. Southwind Frank and Marion Marauder were in the other Elim. Bar hopping, gets away third, nice and easy. The first time he draws inside. Let's be reminded of that. He gets away from post 3. Now there's nothing really for Tim to do other than just, he knows he's the best horse in here. He's proven that time after time. He makes his way to the front for the second time. This is the second time that bar hopping has been on the lead. And bar hopping just shows his class here. All of the other horses in here have been proven race after race after race that they aren't in the same league as bar hopping. And that's okay to say, they're all great horses. But bar hopping, Marion Marauder, and Southwind Frank have just established as the top 3. And that's what happened in the final. Sutton comes on the outside here. He was actually the fastest horse of the year. Him and Maven's Way were actually faster than bar hopping, Marion Marauder, and Southwind Frank. If you look at their race records, none had gone faster than 52. But Maven's Way and Sutton had trotted in 51. Tim Tetrick, no worries whatsoever. He's on his way to the Hambletonian. He's got a great post position. Time of the mile is going to be 51 4/5, 27-4. At this point, he was the fastest of those 3, Marion Marauder, bar hopping, and Southwind Frank. Now we have the Elim with Southwind Frank, who has post 5. Marion Marauder has post 4. Well, look, don't you know? Look at that. Southwind Frank just methodically makes his way towards the front. No levers, no challengers, nobody even trying. Marion Marauder, nice, gets away in 6th. Perfect spot for him. Southwind Frank knows that Marion Marauder is going to be in 6th. Now, here's the interesting thing. This is as easy as a lead as you can get. 26-4. Marion Marauder is 6th. For some reason, Southwind Frank is really difficult to handle. Look at Yannick here. He is fired up. Now, I don't know what the difference was at this stage in the game, but Southwind Frank is doing exactly what he needed to not do. He's hard to control at this point. We've never seen Southwind Frank and Yannick with such a hold of him. Half in 55-1, your only competition is 6 lengths behind you. The one thing you don't want to do is get a fast half. You've rated this horse middle halves of 59, and yet Southwind Frank looks very hard to control here. And now Yannick even goes to the whip in the last turn. Again, his main competition is still 6 lengths. We've never seen Yannick go this fast 3/4 of 123-2. Never once have we seen Southwind Frank need to go this fast. He was not challenged. He had no competition. Marion Marauder coming on the outside, doing what he does best. All he needed was a fast half and a fast 3/4, and he got it. Marion Marauder does what he does best, track down Southwind Frank to just get up in the final stages to win in 151-3. Again, an uncharacteristic race for Southwind Frank, as we just watched him race 10-12 times. Nice easy halves, nice easy 3/4, strolling to the lead. Here we head into the Hamiltonian final. Marion Marauder post 5, bar hopping post 3, Southwind Frank post 1. Southwind Frank leaves a little hard here. Marion Marauder post 5, bar hopping post 3. I'm going to pause this. You have Southwind Frank here, bar hopping here, Marion Marauder here, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. Sutton, who also was a super fast horse. Remember, Sutton was faster all year than these 3. This is where it's interesting. Marion Marauder's best moves are from when he's in the middle of the pack and he can come off the trot. Bar hopping's best moves have been when he's close to the front and can attack, just like Marion Marauder. We watched bar hopping in the Earl Beal, a limb, take a head on Southwind Frank and pass him. Southwind Frank's best moves have been when he slow, methodically makes his move to the front, gets a soft half, and trots away from the field. Unfortunately, because Southwind Frank did not win the limb, there's some chinks in the armor. And that's all these other drivers and horses needed. They just needed to know that Southwind Frank was beatable. He's not invincible as his record would state. If you just looked at his stats, he's almost unbeatable. But now they're seeing we can beat this horse. He's not super fast like Muscle Hill was. This first turn is everything. Bar hopping decides that he's going to go to the front. Yes, he had a great Hamiltonian limb, but it was against no competition. He strolled away. The 2 times he's been on the lead, he's had no competition, and he was just okay. So I found it interesting that bar hopping went for the lead here, knowing that Southwind Frank is vulnerable on the lead. He's beaten him on the lead before. So why wouldn't bar hopping try to do the same technique? As we see, Southwind Frank makes his move to the lead. Bar hopping is right behind him. Yannick knows at this point that he's going to be sitting in the 2-hole. I found it very interesting also that we've seen Southwind Frank come from off the trot. He could have been away 3rd here. Southwind Frank could have been in the 3-hole right here. Bar hopping makes his lead to the front. We know Southwind Frank can come off the trot. He's done that. So you put bar hopping, a horse that is very inexperienced, on the lead against a horse who should be easy to handle, has proven that he's been easy to handle, and you can come first over and put your competition behind you in Marion Marauder. Instead, Yannick makes his move to the front. He's going to put himself in the 2-hole. Bar hopping, the inexperienced horse, makes his way to the front. They get a nice, easy 28-2. Now, Yannick isn't exactly going to let him go at this point. So the softest quarter in the race is the first quarter. Marion Marauder knows this. He's going to start attacking. He's in a perfect spot right here. He knows, okay, I have half and 56, 27-3 at the backstretch. Marion Marauder makes his move now. At this point, the horse in the best spot is Marion Marauder. He knows he's got the inexperienced horse on the lead. He knows he's got his main competition, Southwind Frank, the best horse so far, in the 2-hole. His only move is to hope that Southwind Frank does not pop out here. If he can get up to bar hopping, Marion Marauder knows he's got this one. They come into the final turn. He just gets up to Southwind Frank. Now he knows. Now as soon as Marion Marauder comes along Southwind Frank, I think Southwind Frank looked like he grabbed on a little bit. And you could see Southwind Frank just in an uncomfortable... Southwind Frank has never been in this position, in a two-hole and boxed in. He's followed horses, but he's never been boxed in. And I think, looks like he either got a little unsure of himself, because Southwind Frank almost makes a break right here. And he gaps out. Almost a full length, which is going to be a major difference. So Southwind Frank gets put in a position he's never been put in before, in the biggest race of his career. Marion Marauder in the perfect spot, which his most success has been in this spot. First over, closing, with a weaker horse in his target sight. Bar hopping in a position he's not accustomed to. On the lead. And when he's been on the lead, he's just been so-so. So out of these three horses, Marion Marauder is in the only spot that he has trained his entire career to be for. As you can see, Scotty Z, not even a worry. Not even, he's just floating at this point. He knows he's got bar hopping. Now Southwind Frank, the wonderful horse that he is, actually ends up coming back here. He goes inside. Now we know bar hopping is done at this point because this is the first time he's fought real competition. We know Southwind Frank can come off the trot and beat every horse. We know Marion Marauder is going to be strong. Watch these two right to the end. Southwind Frank finds a little room. Now it's Marion Marauder and Southwind Frank. What a fight to the finish. Almost less than a foot between the finish. Imagine if Southwind Frank didn't lose all that distance in the turn in a spot that he was never put in. And there's your Hambletonian final. Breeders' Crown final here. We've got bar hopping post 3, Sutton post 4, Southwind Frank post 9, Marion Marauder post 2. Bar hopping, he won the Canadian Trotting Derby. Marion Marauder had won the Yonkers Trot and the Kentucky Futurity. Southwind Frank, a bunch of seconds and thirds in there. So again, these three were the class of the field. But because Southwind Frank, chink in the armor, he's beatable now. He's been beaten multiple times towards the end of the year. Watch what happens. He has to leave hard. We've never seen him have to leave this hard. Normally he just kind of floats out of there. This was 3 months ago. Yannick would be right in here. He would get away third. Yannick has to go for the lead. And Andy Miller says, no. My horse is just as fast. You're taking a seat there, buddy. Marion Marauder's here. Bar hopping. Perfect spot in 5th. Southwind Frank has to duck because he does not have the respect. He's only 9-2 here. We've seen him at 1-9 multiple times. He even tries to move to the front here. He makes his way to the outside, and Andy says, nope, you're going to take a seat there, buddy. So Southwind Frank takes a seat. Marion Marauder, perfect spot behind bar hopping here. Nice 28 3/4. It's getting cold. It's the end of October. It's a chilly night. That's a perfect spot. Bar hopping sets up a perfect second over trip. Marion Marauder just didn't have it tonight, even though this was a perfect drive by Scotty. Again, Southwind Frank in a spot that he's not normally used to. 2-hole. Bar hopping, perfect second over trip on the outside. T-Trick is just full of confidence here. You could see him. You know when these drivers are just full of confidence, how they drive. T-Trick with a perfect second over trip. Southwind Frank looks to be a little grabby at this point. Again, 2-hole trip. For a perfectly rateable horse that Southwind Frank developed into, he does not like a 2-hole trip. And Southwind Frank just has no room here. T-Trick, knowing that Southwind Frank, his only competition is Southwind Frank, again, keeps him. He doesn't float 3 wide until mid-stretch here. He could have easily floated 3 wide off the turn And that would have actually given Yannick a little more room to float 3 wide. But notice how he keeps him blocked in here. Keeps him blocked in. Tetrick knows he's got it won. Southwind Frank, no room whatsoever. But because he's such a great horse, he makes his way through and gets up for second. Bar hopping wins your Breeders' Crown. Southwind Frank, second. Just a curious case of Southwind Frank on how the 2 major races, the Breeders' Crown and Hamiltonian, he found his way in spots that he just was not comfortable with and couldn't get the W. Bar hopping, the reason he won the Breeders' Crown was because he was in a perfect position, a position that he had trained his entire career to be in. Marion Marauder, same thing, his entire career he trained to be in, coming from behind. That's why those 2 horses won those 2 races. What a great season these 3 horses gave us. 3 millionaire trotters.